Before you strike with the hand, you must first strike with the mind. Everything begins within. The moment you step into a fight, whether it's a battle in the ring or a battle in life, what determines your victory is not just your physical training, but the state of your inner world. Most people make the mistake of focusing only on technique, on form, on the external. They train their bodies while their minds remain undisciplined, distracted, and filled with doubt. That's a weak foundation. That's building a weapon with no grip. You can know every move in the book, but if your mind is chaotic, every move will falter. If your thoughts are scattered, your energy is scattered. If your heart is filled with hesitation, your body becomes heavy. The mind and body are not separate. They are one. And if your mind is not prepared, your body cannot follow with power, with clarity, with precision. A calm mind is a focused mind, and a focused mind creates devastating results. To master your movement, you must first master your mind. But this isn't about controlling every thought. It's about awareness. It's about knowing when fear creeps in, when self-doubt begins to whisper, when anger rises without reason. It's about recognizing these internal disruptions and not letting them take control. You don't suppress them. You don't deny them. You see them, accept them, and let them pass like clouds in the sky. That's how you stay in control, by not clinging to every emotion that tries to pull you off balance. We are trained to react. But reaction is blind. It's instinct without wisdom. You must respond, not react. Responding requires space between stimulus and action. That space is where your power lies. That space is where you choose, not out of fear, not out of ego, but out of clarity. A sharp mind can cut through confusion like a blade, but a dull one only creates more noise. When you step into the world without first quieting the war inside, you bring that noise with you. You think you're fighting others, but you're really fighting yourself, projecting your insecurities, your fears, your frustrations. That's why self-mastery must come first. When you train your mind to be still, your body becomes effortless. Your movements become natural. You stop fighting. You start flowing. This isn't easy. It requires repetition. It requires honesty. And it requires the willingness to sit with discomfort. But once your mind is aligned, once it becomes steady like a mountain and flexible like water, there is no opponent that can shake you. You become unshakable, not because of what you know, but because of what you've conquered within. Most people spend their lives trying to understand the world, but they never take the time to understand themselves. They chase success, recognition, and power, believing that if they can just conquer the world outside, they'll find peace within. But it doesn't work that way. The real journey is inward. The longest, hardest path you'll ever walk is the one that leads you back to yourself. And until you walk that path, you'll always feel like something is missing, no matter how much you achieve. To know yourself is not just a philosophical idea. It's practical. It's essential. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't know what truly drives you. You can't know what you're capable of. And worst of all, you'll be controlled by forces within you that you don't even recognize. Your insecurities will make decisions for you. Your past wounds will shape your actions. Your ego will convince you that you're someone you're not. And you'll live reacting to life instead of responding to it with intention. Self-knowledge begins with observation. Watch how you move, how you speak, how you react when you're under pressure. Look at the choices you make. Not just when things are easy, but when things get hard. That's where your true nature reveals itself. And don't be afraid of what you find. The parts of you that are afraid, uncertain, even weak. They're not shameful. They're just untrained. You don't overcome them by pretending they don't exist. You overcome them by bringing them into the light. But the truth is, many people run from themselves. They distract themselves with noise, with drama, with endless activity. Anything to avoid being alone with their thoughts. Because when the world gets quiet, their inner war gets loud. That silence exposes all the parts they've refused to face. But that's exactly where the work is. That's exactly where strength is born. You can't sharpen a sword that you refuse to look at. And don't confuse knowing yourself with labeling yourself. You're not your job. You're not your past. You're not the image you project on social media. You're not your reputation or your failures. You are deeper than all of that. You are not a fixed identity. You are a process. You are becoming. And when you start to really look at yourself, you gain something that no one can give you, and no one can take away clarity. Clarity about who you are, what matters to you, and where you are going. That clarity becomes your compass. That clarity makes you dangerous, not to others, but to the confusion that once ruled you. Once you know yourself, you stop chasing illusions. You stop comparing. You stop living on other people's terms. And when that happens, you stop being controlled. You become the one in control. And that's where your real power begins. People think discipline is a cage. They see it as restriction, limitation, something that takes away freedom. But that's a shallow view. Real discipline doesn't confine you. It frees you. It frees you from the grip of your impulses, from the weight of procrastination, from the chains of inconsistency. Without discipline, you are a slave to your moods, your cravings, your distractions. You might feel free in the moment, doing what you want when you want, but over time that false freedom turns into chaos, and chaos weakens you. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," and you don't, a part of you gets weaker. Every time you give in to the urge to quit, to scroll, to delay, you train yourself to avoid the hard things. And those hard things are the very things that shape you. The fight isn't just out there in the world. It's in the daily choices, in the quiet moments, in the things no one else sees. That's where discipline lives. And that's where freedom is earned. Because when you build discipline, you build trust with yourself. You begin to believe in your own word. You begin to rely on your own actions. That's powerful. When your mind says, "Get up," and your body listens, you realize you are in command. When your heart says, "Keep going," and your legs don't quit, you realize your will is stronger than your weakness. That kind of self-trust isn't given. It's built, rep by rep, moment by moment, through the small, invisible acts that others overlook. Discipline is not about perfection. It's not about never slipping up. It's about consistency. It's about showing up whether you feel like it or not. It's about honoring the process, even when it's boring, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the moment you push through resistance, you strengthen a muscle deeper than the physical. The muscle of character. That muscle determines how far you go in life, how much weight you can carry, how steady you stand when the world tries to knock you down. There's a deep peace that comes with discipline, too. A stillness. When you're living in alignment with your values, when your actions match your intentions, your mind becomes quieter. You stop wrestling with guilt. You stop questioning your worth. You stop making excuses. You just do the work. And when the work is done, it speaks for itself. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. You carry the calm confidence of someone who has paid the price in private. This is what people don't see. They see the results, the achievements, the strength. But they don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the relentless effort that created it. That effort is discipline. That effort is freedom. Because when you've done the work within, you walk into the world with nothing to hide and nothing to fear. There comes a time when you have to confront the one enemy that hides in plain sight. Your ego. It's the voice that tells you you're better than others, or not good enough at all. It's the part of you that needs to be right, to be admired, to be seen. At first, it feels like protection, like confidence. But if you look closer, you'll see it's a trap. The ego isn't interested in truth. It's interested in survival. It thrives on comparison, competition, and control. And it will sabotage your growth the moment your growth threatens its illusion of superiority. The ego feeds on image. It wants you to focus on how you look rather than who you are. It wants you chasing approval, praise, validation, anything to distract you from doing the real inner work. Because real work is humbling. Real work requires you to admit you don't know, to start from the bottom, to fail and rise again. The ego can't survive that kind of honesty. So it tells you to fake it, to pretend, to defend yourself at all costs, even when you're wrong. But the truth is, the more you protect your ego, the more you protect your limitations. Growth doesn't happen when you're performing. It happens when you're honest. With yourself, with others, with the process. And honesty requires humility. It requires you to stop needing to look strong all the time and start being strong in the silence when no one's watching. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to impress. It's grounded. It's real. And it begins the moment you let go of the need to be anyone other than who you truly are. You are not above anyone, and no one is above you. We are all students. We are all evolving. The ego resists this truth because it wants hierarchy, wants to win, wants to dominate. But the wise warrior knows the only true competition is with who you were yesterday. That's the only opponent that matters. The one who doubts, who hesitates, who hides, that's who you're fighting. And to defeat that part of you, you must become honest, aware, and willing to be seen without the armor of ego. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the story that you have to be perfect. Because the moment you release those chains, you start to move freely. You listen better. You learn faster. You respond with clarity instead of reaction. You don't waste energy trying to prove your worth. You just live it. That's real strength. That's real power. Not dominance over others, but freedom from the constant need to prove yourself. The ego is loud. The truth is quiet. Listen to the quiet. Let that guide you. Because when you drop the mask and face yourself honestly, you stop performing and start evolving. We all want strength. But too often, we mistake rigidity for power. We hold tightly to routines, expectations, identities, as if clenching harder will protect us. But when life hits, and it always does, what's rigid breaks. What's flexible survives. Strength isn't about being unmovable. It's about being unshakable in motion. The strongest force isn't the one that resists. It's the one that adapts without losing its center. Like water. It doesn't argue with the rock in its path. It moves around it, over it, even through it. Slowly, relentlessly, without effort, without ego. When you resist what life brings, you suffer. You create friction inside yourself, a constant battle against reality. That's where stress is born. That's where fear grows. You start to feel like you're fighting everything. Your circumstances, your relationships, your own thoughts. But the fight isn't necessary. What's necessary is flow. The ability to stay present, to adjust, to remain rooted in who you are no matter how wildly things shift around you. That's true mastery. It's not about control. It's about responsiveness. You don't always get to choose what happens, but you always choose how you respond. And that choice, That moment right between what happens and how you react. That's where power lives. Most people never pause long enough to find it. They react out of fear, out of pride, out of old habits. But if you learn to be still within motion, to remain grounded as everything moves, you become the kind of person who cannot be thrown off balance. There's a deep wisdom in adaptation. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're intelligent. It means you're alive to the moment and not stuck in the past. The past says, this is how it should be. But the present asks, what does this moment need? When you're present, you don't force outcomes. You meet life where it is. And from that space, you create movement that's aligned, intentional, and effective. Don't confuse flow with passivity. Flow is not giving up. It's not floating aimlessly. It's having the awareness and the skill to navigate reality skillfully, to bend without breaking, to shift without losing your direction. That takes more strength than clenching your fists and bracing for impact. It takes awareness, humility, and the courage to let go of the need to always be right, always be in control, always know the next step. In training, in relationships, in life, be willing to adjust your stance. When something no longer serves you, release it. When life changes course, change with it. The path is not a straight line, and neither is growth. But if you can flow through the bends with presence and discipline, you'll find that nothing can hold you down for long. Because when you stop resisting and start moving with life, you become as unstoppable as water. Pain is something most people try to avoid at all costs. They run from it, numb it, hide it, pretend it's not there. But pain is not your enemy. It's a messenger. It's trying to show you something about yourself, something you need to see. If you're willing to stop resisting and actually face it, pain becomes one of your greatest teachers. Not because it feels good. It doesn't. But because it strips away all the noise and forces you to confront the truth. Pain shows up when something inside you needs attention. It might be physical, emotional, or even spiritual. But whatever form it takes, it carries information. And if you ignore that information, you miss the lesson. Most people want healing without the process. They want strength without the struggle. But it doesn't work like that. The process is the teacher. The struggle is the training. And pain is the pressure that sharpens your awareness. It shows you what you're holding on to, where you're rigid, where you're weak, where you haven't yet done the inner work. There's a choice in every painful moment. You can either turn away from it and delay your growth, or you can lean into it and let it shape you. Leaning in doesn't mean enjoying it. It means not wasting it. It means asking, what is this here to teach me? It means stepping into the discomfort instead of retreating into distraction. Because the pain you avoid today becomes the pattern you repeat tomorrow. And the pain you face today becomes the wisdom you carry forward. Some of the deepest strength is born in silence, in those quiet, private battles where no one sees you, no one claps for you, and there's no guarantee of reward. Just you, the pain, and the choice to keep moving. That's where something powerful begins to build. It's not always obvious. It doesn't always feel heroic. But over time, it changes you. It gives you depth. It gives you grit. It gives you perspective. Pain has a way of revealing who you really are underneath the surface. When everything is stripped away, comfort, certainty, approval, what's left is the real you. And if you meet yourself there with honesty, you can rebuild stronger. You learn how to carry yourself with dignity, even when life is heavy. You stop needing everything to go your way. You stop depending on ease to move forward. You become resilient. Not just because you've been through pain, but because you've learned from it. You don't have to love the pain, But you do have to respect it. Use it. Let it refine you instead of define you. Let it sharpen your purpose instead of dull your spirit. Because when you stop wasting pain and start working with it, even your wounds become weapons. The world moves fast. It's loud, chaotic, always demanding more. More action, more reaction, more noise. Most people get caught in that current. They think they have to keep up, stay busy, constantly be doing something. But motion without purpose is just distraction. It gives the illusion of progress while keeping you disconnected from your own power. Real power doesn't come from constant movement. It comes from stillness. From the ability to pause, to center yourself, and to hear what most people are too distracted to notice. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about doing something with complete presence. It's about stepping out of the noise long enough to hear your own inner voice. Because in that quiet, the truth speaks. You can't fake stillness. You can't rush into it, and you can't manufacture it. You have to earn it. You have to train yourself to sit with silence, even when your mind is racing, even when the world is pulling at you. That's not weakness. That's discipline. And that discipline builds clarity. When you develop the ability to be still, you stop reacting to everything that pokes at you. You stop flinching every time something doesn't go your way. Instead of getting pulled in 1,000 directions, you hold your ground. You observe. You choose. You move deliberately. That's where real control comes from. Not from trying to control everything outside of you, but from mastering what's inside of you. The calm mind is not a passive mind. It's a focused weapon. Still, sharp, precise. In a fight, the one who loses control first is usually the one who loses. It's not always about who's faster or stronger. It's about who's composed, who's centered, who can stay present when the pressure rises. Life is the same. The challenges don't stop coming. The unexpected will always arrive. But when you've built stillness within, you meet chaos with calm. You don't panic. You don't crumble. You adapt. You adjust. And you strike with clarity. That's what people miss. They think action is everything. But action without awareness is wasted effort. It's only when you move from stillness that your actions become powerful. It's only when you know how to be silent that your words begin to carry weight. Stillness is what sharpens the edge. It makes you more intentional, more dangerous. Not in a reckless way, but in a precise way. Because you're no longer reacting to life. You're responding with control. The world will always try to pull you out of yourself, to scatter your attention, to overwhelm your senses. But when you've trained in stillness, you become anchored. You become unmoved by distractions and undisturbed by noise. And in that space, you find something rare. Clarity without chaos, strength without strain. You find yourself. And once you've found yourself in the silence, nothing outside of you can ever take that away. Fear is the final barrier. It's the last wall between who you are and who you could be. And it wears many faces: doubt, hesitation, excuses, procrastination. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it screams, but it always shows up when you're about to grow. That's how you know you're in the right place. Fear doesn't show up when you're safe and stagnant. It shows up when you're on the edge of something real, something meaningful, something that requires more of you than ever before. It's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to lean in. Most people think they need to get rid of fear to move forward. But that's not how it works. Fear isn't something you eliminate. It's something you learn to face. You train with it. You dance with it. You let it be there, but you don't let it decide for you. The goal is not to be fearless. That's a fantasy. The goal is to be courageous. And courage means feeling the fear and choosing to move anyway. Fear will try to control your decisions. It will tell you to wait, to shrink, to play it safe. It will try to convince you that discomfort is danger. But discomfort is where growth begins. It's where transformation starts to take root. You can't expand while staying comfortable. You can't evolve while staying hidden. At some point, you have to make peace with being exposed, with not knowing, with taking the leap before you're ready. The more you avoid fear, the more power it gains. It starts to shape your world, what you say yes to, what you back away from, what you never even try. And slowly, without realizing it, your life becomes smaller. But when you face fear, really face it, it shrinks. It loses its grip. And in its place, something stronger begins to grow: confidence. Not the kind that comes from pretending, but the kind that comes from proving to yourself that you can survive the things you thought you couldn't. Facing fear doesn't mean you won't feel shaky. It means you trust yourself enough to walk through the shakiness. It means you stop giving your power away to what might happen and start claiming your power through what you choose to do now. Fear tries to predict the future. It imagines the worst. But presence brings you back to this moment. And this moment is where all your strength lies. Every time you move through fear, you expand. You become a little more free, a little more grounded, a little more in control, not of the world, but of yourself. And that control changes everything. Because once you stop running from fear and start walking through it, there is nothing left to hold you back. You don't become fearless. You become unstoppable.